we got tips about gun shops around the country not able to get 7.6239. And I was up here about 5 o'clock yesterday in a writers meeting right next door to the studio. We got several offices of writers, but I was in the one just literally 15 feet from where I sit. And these tips were coming in, and I was like, yeah, you know, I was trying to buy some 7.6239 because I don't have enough of that, maybe only 1,000 rounds of it. I said, I went to several gun shops a few months ago, and they said, look, our suppliers, and they listed the names and told me the companies. I even wrote down some names and numbers, meaning to give it to the crew, and then you put it in the car, and the kids get in, it falls on the floor, and then you forget about it. But I talked to, I guess I went to 3 different shops, kind of on a gun buying spree and ammo buying spree, as I do occasionally. I don't gamble. I don't have a lot of other compulsions, but I go in a gun shop. It's or a hunting or fishing place. It's not pretty. I'm like most cavemen. That's just kind of how I am. And, you know, throwbacks. And so they were all telling me, no. We can't get 7.6239. We can't get the different Russian handguns. We can't get the different imported out of Russia or Bulgaria or anywhere. It's all being bought up. And the word is the Defense Department is buying it all up, and it's being put in warehouses. And then I actually did later trying to get ammo, talked to a big warehouse, and they said, yeah, we've just been told the Department of Defense and Homeland Security is getting it all. And I said, well, wait a minute. I forgot about this conversation in Weldon Henson's office. And I started talking to him, and they said, yeah, and what doesn't make sense is the Defense Department doesn't use 7.6239 or the other Russian Warsaw Pact ammo is what it's called. The West uses stuff different. It's 2 different competing forces. And so I just forgot about it for a few months. I guess that's been about actually 2-3 months. So it clicks, and I go to the FedBiz site and see if they're buying AK-47 ammo. Boom, just one of the purchases, upwards of 4 mil in 7.6239 AK-47 ammo. And the rifles and the handguns that carry other Russian ammo. And folks, that's where it's all going. So we did a little bit of journalistic work yesterday. And by the way, it's a bottomless pit. There's National Weather Service buying more. We're going to break that in a few minutes. He's doing that right now. There's so many hundreds of millions more being bought that we can't even keep track of it. And whatever the manufacturers can supply, they just put more orders in to corner the market. And whatever the Russians and the Chinese can ship from Norinco, the most dirty, you know, whatever ammo. Not saying Norinco's bad, but a lot of that stuff out of China is. It is all just pouring in. Yeah, there it is. FedBiz Ops, AK-47 ammunition.gov. And you can read all the numbers and everything. It's in our article. And it's kind of like we broke 2 million targets paid for by Homeland Security. And the company's mistake was to sell them to the public as well to print a few million more of like no more hesitation. 5-year-old kids, pregnant women, women in showers. And it says to train your cops to kill women and children, to desensitize them. And it was confirmed. The company admitted it and said, hey, don't blame us. No one covered that. No one can handle it. No one can handle it. That broke like 6-7 months ago. No one can handle it. And by the way, I've got like 15 articles here in this stack or more that are all this insane or more. Okay. U.S. Army buying millions of rounds of Russian ammo and popular civilian firearms. Compelling proof Department of Defense, we should probably add, is joining DHS in drying up firearms and ammo supply. Let's say that, joining DHS. We should probably do editing here on the air. Kit Daniels did a great job on this, wrote this last night and finished it this morning. And it goes through all of it. And they're not just buying the 3+ million rounds of AK-47. They are buying the Makarovs. They're just buying everything. Makarov ball ammo. I mean, no NATO country uses that. And they're storing it where they're storing it, at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Kentucky. And this is just one of the purchases. This was a few days ago. They put the bid out. And so that's why you can't get it. And again, I've talked, in fact, Weldon's got all the names written back there. I need to call that big giant ammo warehouse back, the one in Georgia? Or there was one in Virginia, where they just said, all I've been told, Department of Defense. And this is one of the big warehouses that sells all over the country. And then finally we did the story. So here it is, and it's just off the charts insane. Now, let's move on to the next article. Obama DHS planned to kill peaceful protesters in sniper attacks. This broke a few months ago, but since then, Homeland Security has confirmed that, indeed, this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation directive for squads in Houston, Jacksonville, Florida, it's all over the country, to prepare contractors, feds, and police with suppressed sniper rifles. And then you can find this on the Fed Biz site. They've got these thermal, $10,000 3D scopes, you name it, suppressors to decapitate Occupy Wall Street leadership, which itself was just White House-funded front groups, but because they couldn't control it, they then shut it down in DHS raids. But they had an option to decapitate if the crowds got big, just like they do in Egypt, to kill everyone. This is totally legal death squads. The entire leadership of the government should be arrested over this. It's nothing. It's just the rollout of the death squads. This is how they create an army of killer feds, contractors, and police preparing sniper death squads. Our open, mega massive purge plan to gather intelligence against the leaders of the protest group and obtain photographs, then formulate a plan to kill the leadership via suppressed sniper rifles. According to journalist David Linderorf, the FBI planned to assassinate the leaders of the now morbid Occupy movement via suppressed sniper rifles. A follow-up report by Kurt Nimmo confirmed via the document. The following is a transcript of Alex Jones' spoken analysis. And it goes on. It is essential to understand that information is being declassified on purpose to create a chilling effect against constitutionally protected activities like demonstrations and protest. But it's also there to mainline the idea that assassination death squads are operating within America. When you have the president signing the NDAA publicly saying we can kill, disappear Americans, we can torture, we can do whatever we want, that can then be given to special forces, contractors, and others as the rubber stamp authorization, but still it's fraudulent, who have already been carrying out these types of seek and destroy operations in foreign countries. So they're very, very good at it. So again, they believe this is legal and lawful. In essence, this is a public rollout or testing of the waters, a trial balloon for death squads to operate openly in America. All of this in the name of terrorism when the government itself has become the ultimate terrorist. This is a psychological warfare operation against the police, military, and the general public. It is the mainlining and the normalization of the most barbarous, over-the-top illegal activities the government can engage in. Historically, the open, premeditated plan to murder peaceful demonstrators on a scale that dwarfs the Kent State massacre at those protests. This is a test to contractors, police, and military and feds to see if they will follow standby orders to kill you. This is how they are creating an army of killers. The police need to know this is a psyop aimed at them to see if they will carry out over-the-top evil. We're talking about a truly hijacked rogue government that's done this clandestinely in the third world for over 60 years and is now bringing it home.
I'm Janet Napolitano, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security begins with hometown security.
It seems apparent that our citizens are staying off the streets, which may make scoring particularly difficult, even with this year's rule changes. To recap those revisions, women are still worth 10 points more than men in all age brackets, but teenagers now rack up 40 points, and toddlers under 12 now rate a big 70 points. The big score, anyone, any sex, over 75 years old, has been upped to 100 points. As always, how fast you move determines how long you live.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God.
And look, Social Security Administration just bought $200,000. They need it. It wasn't 1.6. So they cherry pick. It'd be like Alex says there's 7 billion people in the world, but he's a liar. There's only 1 million in Austin, Texas. And you're like, that's not even a good lie. You like line item, one of thousands of purchases on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and say, I'm a liar on all these shows, so people go, oh, I've been psychologically inoculated to that guy. He's a liar. It was only 200,000, Martha, that they got, not 1.6 billion. Oh, that's that guy that lied and said they were going to have drones over America or blimps. By the way, it's been announced in RT, Reuters today. D.C. is to have blimps over it watching everyone. They launched the blimps in 2003. And it was in local newspapers. And all I did was, look, local news, they've launched blimps. They've got them up over every major city now. And they're powered by solar panels on the top. And they have ground-penetrating radar and face-scanning cameras and laser microphones. And here's Alexander Haig's company that started it all in the early 1990s. Oh, crazy blimps. And then it's just... Look, about 95% of what I tell you is public. I'm trying to explain this to you. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds dystopic to say, oh, they're torturing people's kids in front of them. They're putting poison in the water. Here's a Harvard study admitting it. Here's a White House science czar saying it's to dumb you down. I mean, they're admitting it. This is not my opinion. Has working this hard this long? Have I gotten a little bit eccentric? Yeah, folks, you bet. I'm pretty freaked out right now. And I'm so awake and I'm so aware, it's like torture. It's torture to pick up all the archetypal symbolism in films, the subliminals. It's torture to pick up all the spins, the 10 layers of propaganda on MSNBC, the manipulation, the twisting, the lies. It's unbelievable. These people are all coached by the CIA and big think tanks on how to screw people up. And now that's admitted as of last week. But it was admitted before that. They were like, oh, yeah, CNN's run by the CIA. And people are like, oh, yeah, right. It's like when I had that Esquire writer here. They got a big cover story coming out in the September issue, middle of August. He'd go, Delta Force was at the Seattle thing. And he'd look it up and go, it actually was. Or he'd go, the White House science czar said put stuff in the water to reduce fertility. Yeah, right. He's like, oh, he did. Well, Rachel Maddow says you said they sent the tornado. He went to the full video. He goes, no, actually you didn't. You're right. It is horrible. And I know it's horrible for those of you that are smart and have figured this out as well. I know what people say, I can't listen, I got to tune out of this. This is too intense. But that's going to destroy us, folks. We've got to admit how sick we are and how screwed up this is. And we've got to suppress our instinct to just go nihilistically eat, drink, and be merry because tomorrow we die. Oh, God. I'm watching the cancer of tyranny, of authoritarianism grow, spread its horrible wings over society so it can suck our blood and relative comfort. And I just watched the whole economy converted over to fraud economy, crony economy. You know, civilization is built by a code of honor, a code of ethics, a social contract, and people working together under good common sense rules. But what happens when the social engineers are insane and try to overturn the common law and the common sense and invert things? Well, then it becomes the duty to resist and to not comply and to subvert the subversion, to rebel against the rebellion, to restore the republic.